of NFL experts that we have for you each and every week during the season. And the latest to join the lineup, very proud to welcome in every week with us at this time, ESPN's Dan Orlovsky. Definitely, I would say, Stink and FOS, a friend of Stink. So, Dan, welcome.
And Stoke.
It's great to be with you guys. I'm flattered. I'm honored. I'm looking forward to it. Definitely friend. I'm definitely an FOS.
Well, we appreciate that, and I just want you to know the first time that I quote something that you taught me, I use your name. The second time I say a guy I know says this, and the third time I just steal it and put it on a broadcast. So I just want you to know that about me as we go forward, Dan, that this is how it's going to work. And the big question here in Denver is the Denver Broncos. People are really excited, but I'm excited to talk to you because of your knowledge of the quarterback position. Expectations for Bo Nix. What have you seen and what do you expect?
Yeah, they're sky high. I mean, he's a guy that you confidently sit there and go, fully expect to take a big leap. I think, and Mark, I'd say there's always three things that quarterbacks need to go play well. And number one is you have to have, a system that is very comparable and compatible to your skill set, and then the person calling the plays to match it up. And obviously, with Sean Payton, he's got that. I think the second thing that any quarterback needs is you got to have the protection. Obviously, this is going to be at worst, I think, a top 5 offensive line in the NFL. And then the third thing is you got to have people to get the ball to. And that would be the one that you sit there and go, how good is it? For Bo Nix in Denver, I think it's a good group, but it's not in that, that grouping in the AFC that, some quarterbacks have. So I was really impressed with the way he finished the season, the way that he commanded things, the way that he moved when he had to, not when he wanted to. One of the things that stood out was how they got into a lot of their, I guess, RPO game, but it's like an advanced RPO, run pass option, where you're running real pass concepts rather than we're just throwing a slant. And so I thought he handled that really well. Obviously, the addition of Evans should be a big deal. So, I fully expect him to have a even more so breakout season.
Dan, thanks for joining us, buddy. Brandon Stokley here. Appreciate you.
What's up, legend?
How we doing, buddy?
Wait a minute, I didn't get legend. Whoa.
Where did legend come from? Dan?
No, I mean the tape. The tape is legendary. The tape is legendary.
Yeah, I just got friend. My tape, apparently. Maybe you're
Nobody's
not old enough to have seen my tape, right?
There is no tape.
Yeah. That's the truth.
He doesn't walk around with a film projector.
he didn't have 16 millimeter at the house.
Dan, Dan, talk about how do you feel about the Broncos? There's a lot of hype around the Broncos going into this year. Obviously, made the playoffs, 10 wins last year. Great year last year. A lot of hype this year. You look at the AFC West, tough division. I mean, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. The Chargers, Harbaugh, they're going to be good. And then you got the Raiders will be much better with Pete Carroll there. What are your thoughts on the Broncos and the hype going into this year?
Yeah, it's the best team that they've had since Patrick has taken over as the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs. There's no question. And it's not hyperbolic to say this team is an AFC championship contending football team. I start here. Both sides of the line of scrimmage, you can make the case it's the best in the conference. I think the only team that you could really get into an argument about is they have better in that combination, offensive and defensive line groups together, is Baltimore. Because this offensive line group I just talked would say I thought it'd be top 5, and this defensive line group is going to be top 5 as well. So I start there. That right there separates you into a small group. Obviously, the coaching matters and whatnot. And then the secondary should be just absolutely preposterous. And so I think secondary matters a little bit more than run defense in the NFL nowadays just because of the style of football. And secondary could lock down with anybody. And so there's not a lot of flaws on their football team. I guess if the flaw, do they have a person on the perimeter offensively that really scares you? That answer is probably no. I think Portland's a really good player. Franklin hopefully takes a step forward. So do they really have someone to scare you the way that Baltimore has a Zay Flowers? Just his speed is going to scare you. Or Cincinnati has their 2 guys. You can make the case that the Chargers don't either. But I sit there and I go that. And then, Bo, second year, he had a solid start, finished incredibly strong, but there's still people who are like, product, he's not that good, he's carried by defense. He's not one of those 4 or 5 elite quarterbacks yet in that conference. But other than that, they don't have loss.
Visiting with Dan Orlovsky, now with us each and every week here on The Fan.
Dan, what do you think about Sean Payton as a coach? You know, there are kind of mixed emotions sometimes here because he can be a little bit crass and a little bit on people, but obviously he's had a lot of success. So when you watching the X's and O's of Sean Payton, the way he coaches a team, what is your assessment of his job, the job that he does?
He wins. Like, I think when you watch that team last year, you know, like, they didn't really hurt themselves a ton. I always say, like, one of my favorite things about play callers, in specific to the vision that they have for the quarterback, is, okay, what do you do poorly? What do you struggle with? What are you not comfortable with? And trying to figure that out. Sometimes it's playing from the gun. Sometimes it's playing from underneath center. Sometimes it's quick games. So like, I love the fact that Sean seems to figure that out about a quarterback, and then he avoids it more often than not. And then the vice versa is, what are you really good at? What concepts are you comfortable with? What do you see very clearly? What do you love to operate? How do you operate it quickly? What about our offensive line? What are they really good? I think Sean does a fantastic job of figuring out both individually what guys don't like and what they do like. What are they good at? What are they bad at? And majoring in the good stuff. And then as a unit, you know, what's our receiver group good at? You know, how do they like to run routes? What concepts are they good at? Does our offensive line like run concepts that, you know, go inside or out? So I think he does a really good job. And I don't think a lot of coaches do. That's why I'm pointing that out. And then, you know, I would say this. Going into last season, the thing that I was cautious on was, you know, Sean had such a rich history of, I would say, like, a lot of traditional NFL stuff. And I wanted to make sure that there was a new flavor attached to that, new motions and personnels and formations and schemes that kind of revolutionized and evolved the offense. And I don't know if it was Sean, I don't know if it was Davis Webb, but I saw that in the offense last year, and that's a big, big, big deal to me.
Dan, real quick here, a lot of people are talking about the Chiefs taking a step back this year. How do you view the Chiefs this year?
I don't see that. I mean, if you want to say because they were, 15-1 games that they tried to win, fair. But I think Simmons and Kingsley on the left side are going to be a bigger upgrade on their offensive line than they've had. Their offense will look a little bit muted early on because there's not going to be any Rashee Rice. I think they have to evolve a little bit schematically. Candidly, I do think that they have to be willing to go under center, run the football, marry it to a play-action game to get the ball downfield. They signed corner opposite McDuffie to make sure that they're secured at the number 2 position. So I think the Chiefs are going to be, just as good as they've been over the last 6 years or so.
Dan, we look forward to doing this each and every week with you. We look forward to it. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dan.
Great to be with you guys. Same here.
All right, Dan Orlovsky, and he'll be on with us each and every Wednesdays are just what a lineup. Joel Klatt at 8:15, Dan Orlovsky at 9:15. So
he said legend.
Johnny,
he called you a legend.
Johnny,
I'm out.
I'm just a friend of Stinks.
Put him on
legend.
my list. Put Orlovsky on my list.
Save that
and then
audio.
Also,
save that audio. Yeah.
Give me a reminder to send him some 16 millimeter projector film.